Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. Straight up to our top story. India has overtaken the UK to become the world's fifth largest economy, according to a report by Bloomberg. Now, India is now behind the United States, China, Japan, and Germany. Now, these calculations and analysis were done by Bloomberg based on the International Monetary Fund data on gross domestic product figures and exchange rates. The size of the Indian economy in nominal cash terms in the quarter through March was around 68 lakh crore, according to this report. Now, a decade ago, India ranked 11th among the largest economies, while the UK was in the fifth position. The UK currently is facing the fastest inflation in 4 decades amid rising risks of a recession as well. The report also says that the Indian economy is forecast to grow more than 7% this year. Moving on from the story now, journalist P Sainath has said that he is returning the Basava Shri Award and 5 lakh rupee prize money that was awarded to him by Karnataka's Murugha Mutt in 2017. Now, this comes after the arrest of the Mutt's head seer Shivamurthy Muruga Sharanaru in a sexual assault case. Now, Mr. Sainath has said that he was disturbed to learn from media reports that Sharanaru faces charges under the POCSO Act and the SC/ST Act. The seer has been remanded in police custody till the 5th of September in connection with this particular case. Also, the Bombay High Court has issued notice to Microsoft founder Bill Gates and Serum Institute of India after a man filed a petition claiming his daughter died due to the side effects of the Covishield vaccine. Now, he has sought 1,000 crore rupees in compensation. According to a report by ANI, the High Court bench has also sought response from the centre, the Maharashtra government, Drug Controller General of India, Dr. V.G. Somani, and All India Institute of Medical Science Director, Dr. Randeep Guleria, among others. The next hearing, which is slated to take place on the 17th of November. In the petition, the petitioner has blamed the, and I quote, false narratives and misrepresentations by the government about the safety of the COVID vaccine and claimed that medical practitioners were forced to take the dose. According to a report by Hindustan Times, his daughter had received the first dose of the vaccine on the 28th of January, and after a few days she started getting headaches and was vomiting. She was then admitted to a hospital where doctors found she was bleeding from her nose. At the time of this recording, the Serum Institute of India has not responded to this particular report. Also in the news, the Outer Ring Road Companies Associations has submitted a letter to Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai estimating the recent flooding of the Outer Ring Road in Bengaluru cost a loss of 225 crore rupees to the firms represented by it. Now, in the last couple of days, you must have seen many videos floating around which show how ORR, Mahadevpura, Bomanhalli, all of these areas were flooded after heavy rains in Bengaluru. Now, this association represents all major IT and banking companies on the Outer Ring Road stretch. It said that poor infrastructure in this IT corridor is, and I quote, putting employees' safety and well-being at risk, end quote. Moving on now to a report by the Indian Express, which says that the Jharkhand police filed an FIR against BJP Lok Sabha MPs Nishikant Dubey and Manoj Tiwari and 7 others for allegedly forcefully taking clearance from the air traffic control for takeoff from Deoghar airport past sunset on the 31st of August. Now, the airport was inaugurated on the 12th of July and is yet to receive clearance for night operations. Now, flights from this airport are currently allowed to depart 30 minutes before sunset. Now, Mr. Dubey and Mr. Tiwari, along with 7 others, were booked for endangering the life or personal safety of others and criminal trespass on the complaint of one Suman Anand, who is in charge of airport security. Now, according to a report by India Today, Anand alleged that the politicians violated all safety standards by entering the air traffic control room and forcing officials to clear their chartered flight for takeoff at night, which it was not allowed. Now, this comes after the state government led by Jharkhand Mukti Morcha in alliance with the Congress accused the BJP of poaching its MLAs. Moving on now, as many as 5 out of 6 Janata Dal United MLAs in Manipur joined the BJP on Friday, weeks after the party broke ties with BJP in Bihar. Now, the JDU had won 6 of the 38 constituencies it had contested in the assembly elections held in March this year. This is the second time the BJP targeted Nitish Kumar party's legislators in the northeast. In 2020, 6 of 7 JDU legislators had joined the BJP in Arunachal Pradesh, and last week the lone MLA also merged with the BJP. Now, in the meantime, Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has today said that the BJP, and I quote, will come down to 50 seats in the 2024 elections if all opposition parties fight together, end quote. Now, this call for opposition parties to come together came in a speech that he made at his party JDU state executive meeting in Patna, and this came after these MLAs joined the BJP in Manipur. Also in the news, an earthquake of magnitude 4.4 was recorded by the National Center for Seismology in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, this is the second quake in the area within 24 hours. The depth of the earthquake was 70 kilometers below the ground. According to authorities, no casualties or damages have been reported so far. Moving on now to business news. There's a report which says that the National Restaurant Association of India has issued an advisory to its members saying that the discounts offered by Zomato, Pay and Swiggy Diner are not in the interest of restaurant owners. Now, they said that Zomato and Swiggy are making money by making restaurants offer discounts. According to the statement that's been issued by NRAI, and I quote, Zomato, Pay and Swiggy Diner both operate broadly on the same construct, no cost or subscription fee to the customer to participate. Restaurants must compulsorily offer a discount in the range of 15 to 40% to be part of the program, end quote. Now, they also added that while other payment gateway charges are 1 to 1.5%, Zomato or Swiggy make restaurants pay a commission fee of 4% to 12% on transactions. Now, according to this report by PTI, a Zomato spokesperson has said that the company is positive about making progress with this initiative. Moving on now, the ED today raided premises of PayTM, Razorpay and Cashfree payment gateways that allegedly facilitated transactions on loan apps that weren't authorized and were run by Chinese-owned companies. Now, some of these companies are also said to be involved in illegal betting, allegedly. Now, the ED is probing a case wherein non-banking financial companies and their fintech partners allegedly resorted to predatory lending practices in violation of the RBI guidelines. Now, PTI has reported that Razorpay and Cashfree responded saying that they were cooperating with the federal agency, while PayTM has declined to comment. On to news coming in from across the world right now, starting off with Sri Lanka, and this is a report by AFP, which is quoted in an airport official that says the Sri Lanka's former president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who had fled the country amid the economic crisis 7 weeks ago, has returned to the country. Now, Rajapaksa fled Sri Lanka under military escort in mid-July after unarmed crowds stormed his official residence following months of angry demonstrations blaming him for the nation's unprecedented economic crisis. The nation is going through its worst ever economic crisis, the shortage of essential goods, fuel, etc. In fact, there were angry demonstrations that took place over the last couple of weeks that we saw in Sri Lanka. And after months of negotiations, the International Monetary Fund has made a staff-level provisional agreement on Thursday, which is touted to be as just the first step to a conditional $2.9 billion bailout package to repair Sri Lanka's battered finances. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, which is grappling with its worst ever floods in over a decade, the federal planning minister has appealed to the international community for an immense humanitarian response to the unprecedented flooding that has left at least 1,265 people dead. Over 33 million people are currently affected. In fact, according to the initial government estimates, the rain and flooding have caused $10 billion in damage. Earlier this week, the UN and Pakistan jointly issued an appeal for $160 million in emergency funding to help millions of people, and now Pakistan has appealed for more aid. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, an explosion at a mosque during prayers yesterday killed 18 people in Herat city. Now, a pro-Taliban scholar was also among the deceased. There have been a series of attacks in Afghanistan, in fact, and the Islamic State has claimed responsibility for most of them. Moving on to sports news right now, Serena Williams, winner of 23 Grand Slam single titles and one of the greatest women tennis players ever, has gotten eliminated from the US Open 2022 in the third round. Now, Serena Williams had earlier, if you remember, announced her retirement, but has not specified so far whether it would be after the US Open. Now, on Friday, she said that she will not reconsider her decision to retire, but also said, leaving it sort of open-ended, and I quote, you never know, end quote. And one piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. Earlier this week, California lawmakers passed a first-of-its-kind legislation designed to improve the online safety and privacy protections for children. Now, according to the Washington Post, the California Age Appropriate Design Code Act would require digital platforms to vet whether new products may pose harm to kids and teens before rolling them out, and to offer privacy guardrails to younger users by default. This would essentially make the state a national leader in setting protections for kids and teens online. Now, if companies violate its provisions, they would be subject to civil fines of up to $7,500 per affected child or teen under enforcement action brought by the state's Attorney General. Now, of course, there has been some backlash where trade groups representing major social media platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, etc., who have lobbied against this bill, arguing that it would hamper innovation and violate constitutional protections, free speech, while failing to adequately protect families. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.